Welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to show you how to remove this very large pine tree that's in the front of our house. We had to remove both of these trees because they were very close to the public sidewalk and it was starting to lift it up and causing a tripping hazard. Please stay tuned and continue watching until the end, because we're going to be showing you the entire process of how we removed all of the branches. We climbed all the way to the very top to remove most of the branches, and then we also cut the bottom portion of the main tree trunk in two sections, with the upper portion, and then also the bottom part was very thick, so we were able to remove that one as well and just get rid of the entire thing. If you want to learn how to do all kinds of handyman work projects, DIY projects, and then you're in the best place here on YouTube, since that's all we do here at Frank's Handyman Service. Consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and activate the notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any future videos that we're going to be uploading. This tree that you see right here measures approximately 120 lineal feet tall. We had to remove both of these because, like I mentioned before, they were about 5 or 6 feet away from the public sidewalk area, and since they were so large and the tree roots were very big, they were starting to lift it up. So the first thing we're starting to do is climb up onto the tree. We have one of our workers right there. He has a smaller size chainsaw currently, and with that he's able to just start trimming some of the smaller sized branches. Most of these are going to go into the wood chipper, but some of them that are a little bit thicker or larger size branches, we're going to be cutting those into smaller sections so that way we can use them as firewood. But this process is pretty straightforward. He's using a rope that he pulls it over one of the upper branches and then he ties it onto the lower one. He only does this when the branch is a little bit larger than the other ones, and he needs to like lower it slower than just letting it drop on its own. So that's pretty much what he's doing right here. He's just tying from the upper branch, putting the rope around it, lowering it down to this one. He's going to tie it onto this lower large root or branch, and then he's going to be able to cut it. And from there we have a few guys at the bottom that they have access to that rope, and they're going to be able to just lower it down little by little until they can get it over there. And from there they're just going to start either cutting it in smaller pieces, or they're just going to put it right into the wood chipper. The reason we had to do this and not just let all of them fall down just like that is we have a light post. It's one of those street light posts that is in between these two trees, and we just had to be very careful working around that. We didn't want to like break it or knock it down or something like that. So thankfully, with all of this process, we were able to safely remove all of the roots, or sorry, all of the branches, and just take them all down without affecting anything around it. Thankfully, these trees were far enough away from the homes that most of the branches we were able to just cut them and let them fall down, and they would just fall like right close to the tree, so it wouldn't be in the way of anything. And then as you see right here, as he starts cutting down the branches, we have those few guys down there that they're just working around him. Whenever he drops it down, they get the branches, they put it right into the wood chipper, and they're just kind of cleaning up the area as we start removing everything. And I mean, it's a pretty straightforward process until we get quite to the upper part. So this is where we're starting to advance quite a bit. He's just knocking down all of those branches. These ones, he's just letting them fall straight down because they're not that large. So he's going to continue to basically cut them and as far as he can reach. And from there, he's just going to climb up a little bit more. But these are the results so far after we removed most of the tree branches. It's amazing how it looks so bare, and it just looks very different. And even with this, with him kind of moving up and down or throughout the tree, I could see how the rest of the tree trunk would sway, and it's pretty amazing thing to watch. So he's going to continue to remove some of those branches up there, and like I mentioned before, the guys here at the bottom, they're collecting most of them. And they do this in between whenever the guy up there is kind of climbing the tree or adjusting or whatever he needs to do. That will buy these guys time, so that way they can get into the drop zone and just pick up any of the branches, so that way they can keep the area clean throughout the process. And then they go ahead and just signal him and let him know that they're out of the way, so that way he can continue to drop the leaves. But we do this process over and over and over, just getting in, getting out, just cleaning everything. You see right there, they're raking all the roots or the leaves and the branches. So, and right there, he's starting to cut down some of the trunks, which I'm going to show you from the upper part in a little bit, how we cut the sections of trunk, and they're just moving it aside. And from there, they're going to start cutting them into smaller sections. I've asked them to do it in like 16-inch width diameters, and so that way it's just a typical size. We can put it into the fireplace or wood stove or whatnot. So this portion right here, we're almost getting ready to remove the very top of the tree. This section that I'm showing you right now is a little bit before the time that we're going to remove the whole entire top portion of the tree, which is what's left over of the branches. And from there, we're going to start cutting the trunks, in certain amount of sections. From here, we're going to move on to the neighbor's tree, the one you see there on the left. That one is not as thick as far as like the tree trunk and all that. They were about the same height wise, but mine, you can tell right there, it's like I think it was like 42 inches thick at the bottom, and the neighbors, I think it's around 3 feet or a little bit less than 3 feet. So that one, we were able to cut both of these the same day, and that was a good thing. And we also after everything, we were able to grind down the stump. So they took care of all of that work in the same day. And you'll want to stay tuned, because in the near future, I'm going to go ahead and show you how we grind down the stump and the roots and all of that as well. So I'll be sharing that process very soon. So right here, I was able to get a little bit of a close-up on how he's just cutting down the branches, and you can see how he can easily maneuver himself from the left or to the right or just around everything, so that way he can just easily knock everything down. And one thing that he has is a special belt that has like the attachments where he can hook up the chainsaw and just different things that he can carry, like wedges or stuff that he's gonna need. And then at the bottom of his boots, he has these like hooks. So there it is. That's the final part of the tree that's gone. And now we're just gonna start knocking down this trunk. So that's the results after we removed all of the tree branches. We've already wood chipped most of them. We're starting to pick up some of the final ones here and clean everything. We like to just clean all the area there before we start cutting down these sections. But after that, we just cut it down and let them fall right down in there. And from there, they just get them and they move them aside. So typically here, when he starts trimming or removing these, is he's cutting them about 32 inches in diameter or in length. And once he knocks them down at the bottom, they're going to be cutting them into smaller sections, a lot of these in half. So that way, afterwards, we're going to start splitting all of the wood. So that's also another video that I'm going to be making here in the near future. I'm going to show you guys how we split all of this wood, and that way you can have the full process from removal to grinding to splitting, and just show the entire process from start to finish. And because this is going to be quite a bit of wood, and you're going to see right here as he starts working his way down that it's going to get quite harder and more challenging. The reason is because it's starting to get thicker as we work our way down. And he's going to get to a certain point as well when the chainsaw, it's only so certain amount of thickness that he's only going to be able to get to it. And from there, he's going to have to get a larger sized chainsaw, which is right here. So he basically lowered this down with the rope, and the guys are preparing, removing the smaller one and just getting the larger blade on there. And from there, he's going to be able to use that to cut the remaining portion of the trunks. And also, as he starts working his way down, it's going to get a little harder to push the pieces, the sections down. So what he's going to do is he also has some wedges that he can put in there, and it will help to lift it up and move it to separate it. And he's going to be able to just push it with his strength as far as he can. But then up to a certain point, he's going to have to put a rope around the trunk and just get some help from the guys at the bottom, so that way they can pull it and they can just knock it over from there. So because right here he's starting to feel how they're just getting heavy. And then another thing too is he starts cutting them in a little bit of smaller sections. And you know, especially since like right here he's already starting to struggle a little bit to knock it over. And so right here, and this is, I sped up the video. Right there he's using a wedger. He puts a wedger in there and just puts it inside, and he can barely get out his chainsaw. And he's just trying to loosen it. And this is the first section that he's gonna tie it, and then the guys at the bottom, they're just gonna pull it. So right there, and then knock it down. So, and that's pretty much it. So from here on out, we're just gonna be able to remove the remaining section of the tree trunk. We're gonna cut it in a couple of sections, so that way we can knock down whatever's left. And I'm gonna show you that process right here. So what we do first is we like to clean the bottom of the tree. so we get a clear idea. But that's pretty much it, whatever's left. It's a massive section, so the guys were able to take a break here and just relax a little bit, but it's time to get back into there. And so they're just putting all their gear back on, and they have a rope, so they tie that around, they basically wrap it around the tree, and they hook it up there to their belt that they have. And from there, he has those spikes that are connected around his boots. So with all of those things, he can climb the tree very easily. And as he goes up, little by little, he starts wrapping that rope around the tree, and that helps him just to anchor himself to it and just get a strong hold. So right here, he's only going to go up a little bit, enough to where he's going to be able to cut down the section. And it's always good to have a few hands. Like in this case, you know, there's 3 guys total, and between all of them, they're able to take care of whatever's needed, so that way they can expedite the process and just have a pretty efficient workspace. And that's why, I mean, thankfully they were able to do all of this in one whole day. So right here, he's cutting a quarter inside. He cut it straight first, and then he cut the top portion at an angle, and he did that strategically in this area over here, so that way the tree can fall in our direction. And then from there, he just starts cutting the rest, and then they just pull it, and that section is gone. So now we just have the bottom portion. He's going to be doing the same thing. So the first cut that he's going to do, it's going to be straight, and he's going to cut it in about a quarter way of whatever the measurement is. And then he's going to do an upper, like a 45-degree cut to meet with that lower first one that he did. And from there, he's going to be able to remove that section. And as well, he does that strategically, so in the direction where he wants the tree to fall down on. And so down there, they're putting some rollers with the same wood and just some sections to hold it. And he's just going to cut the rest. And then from there, they're going to be able to just pull the whole tree. Now, this is going to require all of them to pull this down, because it's definitely quite heavy. And once he does all that, makes the cut that he needs, he's putting a wedgers into the area there, and now they're going to be able to easily just pull it between all of them, and this tree is going to come down like nothing. There it is. So that's pretty much the step-by-step process on how we remove a very large pine tree that was in the front of our house. Like I mentioned before, we had to remove this because it was so close to the public sidewalk area that it had lifted it up almost like a step, and that was causing a major tripping hazard, and it was a huge liability for us. So that's why we had to cut this large tree down, and thankfully we got the approval from the county and everything, so there was no problem, and it worked out better for everybody. And from here on out, we're just going to start prepping everything, cutting the larger sections into smaller, and we're going to, we're cutting around the whatever's left of the stump, so that way we can start grinding all of that down about 18 inches. And but this is the results after we cut everything down. We have most of them in smaller sections. I counted all of the rings that were inside of the tree trunk, and it was a total of 38. So I found out that the tree that we just knocked down right here, it was 38 years old. This was pretty much planted like a few years after our house was built. So that was amazing. And today was a day that we had to knock it down, but this is going to help us a lot, all this firewood. We hope you liked this video. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and activate the notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any future videos that we're gonna be uploading in the near future. Since, like in this case, I'm gonna make another video of how to split all this wood and all kinds of things, so that way you can stay tuned and just watch different things that we do around the house. There's a lot of projects that you can do, especially when you're a homeowner and all the things you pretty much have to do it yourself, or you have to hire a contractor. But in our case, we like to show you how we do things, so that way you can try to do it yourself. But with this tree removal, I definitely ask for help, because this is a lot more than what a regular person can do, especially if you don't have the experience or know how to do all this. We highly recommend to get somebody that knows how to cut down a tree at a very affordable cost, which is what we did over here. So we're gonna be able to enjoy all this beautiful wood for years to come in our fireplace outdoors, or even inside of the house. And now look at this view, how it cleared everything up. It just made a huge difference, and all this daylight, and it just was a night and day result. So we were definitely very happy with this. May God bless you, and we'll see you on the next video.